Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's episode. Obviously, it's another interview episode, which I know you all love. But when I get to interview one of my clients and one of my good friends to really share their zone of genius, it really just takes these episodes to another level. So Wesley Reece and I have been working together for a few months now, and she is a breakthrough coach for female leaders to really empower themselves to achieve greater things in their business. And that's what I love about her mission is she walks the walk, she talks the talk. She wants to help those people that want something more out of their life to achieve it the way that she has. And again, we always talk about the proof is in the pudding. And I always tell people this is why I'm different than a lot of other LinkedIn coaches, is because I practice what I preach. I had to get the success first before I enabled myself to then teach others. Wesley is that person who got success first and said, you know what? I have a blueprint for this, and I can help any other woman just like me achieve the same thing. So without further ado, Wesley, welcome to today's episode.
Thanks, Scott, for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So before we dive into all of the amazing things and how you help people, my audience always loves to know the backstory behind the story. So not the glory, but the story behind that. So give the audience a little bit of a track to run on, so to speak, of how you got into what you're doing now. And what was that moment that kind of set you on this path of self-discovery, of enlightenment, of being woke, so to speak, that is now allowing you to help other women just like you the way that you are?
Absolutely. You know, I was quite young. I would say late 20s or out of college. I went into an industry because it was safe. I went to work for corporate because it was safe and it paid really, really well. A few years into that, it was like I was wearing this mask that I wasn't myself. I wasn't bringing my best self to my job. I wasn't bringing my best self to every day because I didn't know who I was. And so I was looking for an escape route. And at the time I was 27, I was newly married, and I started a direct sales business. It didn't matter the product. What mattered is that I was after the freedom of how I spent my time, and I was after the freedom of what I was able to make financially. So fast forward a little bit, I grew a successful direct sales business, six-figure business, but there were a few points along the journey that I started to question myself because I grew up with that hustle mentality. I grew up with the hard work, put everything that you are into whatever you do. And that's what success is. And I got to the point of exhaustion. We also had started a family, and I had little kids at home. And I was working my business harder than ever before. And it wasn't showing. I was doing my business to support my family, and I was working harder in it, which was taken away from my family. And so I knew that there was a better option. And I had to find out what that was for myself. And along the way, I discovered through my own personal growth journey and looking to mentors along the way, really what was holding me back. And it was because truly I needed to know who I was. I needed to know who I was and what I stood for. And what are those strengths that really make me who I am? Because that mask that I had been wearing, it was living up to the expectations of others and really taken away from who I was. So I lost a sense of myself along the way that I needed to find again. And being able to, I always say, and one of my mentors shared this with me at one point, and it's really stuck with me. If you want to know what you need to work on, start a business or start a relationship. And my business was showing me what I needed to work on. And as I was working on myself with my deep rooted beliefs that weren't serving me, that maybe served me at one time, but I was holding on to them, not knowing that, they weren't helping me anymore. To really shift past that and to step into that deep knowing of who I was, everything else started to come into place. I felt more in this like natural flow, and my business started to take off way more than ever before without more effort. And so along the way, I grew past what I was doing, and I had this epiphany, and it was actually I was in a chair in a conference, getting my first certification for personal and professional development. And I was sitting in a chair, and literally it was like God said to me, now you can help so many more people. And it was at that moment I started to expand the vision that I had for the women that I wanted to help. And it's those women leaders that are high achievers. They've had success, but they know that they can't get to that next level with the same thinking and the same beliefs that got them to where they're at. They know that to be able to get to that next level, they got to work on themselves. And it's that self-leadership piece that's that key that unlocks that door to that next level. And I'm so passionate about helping women really see what they can't see for themselves. It's like that blind spot mirror. We can't read the label on our own bottle. And so we need that other person to shine that light and be able to have that guidance to know that. And this was me too, it can be lonely at the top. When you've had success, it can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. And it's even richer when you are doing that with someone else, when you've got that guide, when you've got that mentor, that person that comes alongside you that helps you see what you can't see for yourself, that calls you on your stuff and helps you see where have a certain story that's not helping you reach your goals. And so that's where I come in, and I know and I call it the 3C formula: the certainty, the confidence, and the congruence. When it all comes together, that's the sweet spot. And so that's where the magic happens. That's where you get the exponential growth without the extra unnecessary effort that's exhausting. And I did get to that burnout spot because I had to go through that to know what not to do. And, to be able to help someone in that way is truly rewarding for me.
So let me ask you something. You and I and many other people that we're connected to, we spend a great deal of money each year on our own personal development, whether that is in one-on-one coaching, whether that's in group coaching, whether that's in masterminds. Because if you want to achieve more, you have to invest more. But there's also this stigma that, especially in network marketing, you don't need to invest in anything outside of what the company offers, or you don't need a mentor outside of your upline, or I'm just going to go to a bunch of free Tony Robbins trainings and I'm going to figure out everything, right? So people end up just becoming addicted to shelf help. They just go to all these, and you and I both know nothing ever changes. And the people that you actually do seeing doing great things and big things and achieving the things that they want are the ones that are constantly investing back into themselves and other people. You know, you're always looking for someone that's a couple steps ahead of you and investing in that person so they can bring you closer to them and what they're doing. And you just keep leapfrogging from there. So for those individuals that never, ever end up pulling the trigger and they're just looking to Google or YouTube or this free or this $37 event, and that's going to be the keys to all of their success, what's your message to that person that still truly hasn't made that full investment in themselves?
I would ask them, what is it that is keeping you from making that investment? I say, how committed are you to that vision that you want to create? Because if you're just looking for free help or the shelf help or the help that your company gives you, what's your commitment really level? What is it? Because I'll tell you, it's not a 10. Commitment shows up in two places: your calendar and your pocketbook. So what is it costing you to have that lesser commitment? And what would it mean for you to make that a 10? I have so many conversations with network marketing and direct sales leaders. And I would say this, because I was that at one point. The company that I was partnered with, their help and leadership and their personal development only got me so far. But I knew I had a vision for what I wanted to create. And I knew that I had to invest in myself if I wanted to get there. And so what is it worth to you? What is that vision worth to you? Is it that, I always say, what's that music playing inside of you? And has it been turned down? Has the volume been turned down? Because it's a choice. Do you want to stay playing at mediocre? Or do you want to play full out and create that life that your soul is craving? And so it comes down to commitment. How committed are they to themselves and the future that they want to create? Because the free help or that $37 course or that book, there's no skin in the game. There's no accountability. Nobody's holding your feet to the fire. And so what is the motivation? And how much is it worth to you?
And I think there's a lot of people that actually don't look at it that way. And I say this to people all the time, Wesley. How much has really changed in your business in the last 2 years of not making any investments? How much has changed in your business doing that same old thing on Facebook or Instagram, or you're DMing or whatever you're doing? How much has your business grown? Has it plateaued? Has it gone backwards? Is it very inconsistent? There's no one to blame but yourself. Your fear of quote unquote going all in is one of two things. You don't trust yourself, or you don't trust the person that you can potentially invest with. 9 times out of 10, people don't trust themselves to actually follow through. And that's the other, I would say, caveat to coaching. So many people are quick to point the finger and blame that coach that they hired for not getting the results that they want. But if those individuals actually turn the mirror around and looked at themselves and really ask themselves, did I do everything in my power to make this work? Did I really fully commit to what I was taught? Again, 9 times out of 10, the answer is probably no. So people really don't have anyone to blame but themselves. But we live in this world now where it's easy for us to put a blame on someone else or write a bad, review on Yelp or whatever it is to take it off of them to make them feel better. Oh, it's not me, it's them. Right? It's not anything I did. It's, oh, this doesn't work or that doesn't work, and it's because of what they're doing. And I really feel there's a lack of self-accountability. And I think that's a big thing. What has really allowed me to become successful, and Nancy and our company and you as well, is we have great self-accountability. I know I'm very present to know if I'm not doing something and if I am doing something. So I'm not going to blame someone else. I call a spade. And if something isn't working and I know it's not me, then that's a conversation I have with the needed person I have the conversation with. But people are so scared into not jumping over the fence, and they're just continuing just to look over and saying, well, I wonder what would be on the other side if I did jump. But I come back to what I said a couple minutes ago. Are you happy with where your business is right now? And are you happy with not making any more changes that you haven't already made? If you want something to change, you have to change something you're doing. Change nothing, nothing changes. And I feel like that makes so much sense. And I know you get it, and I know so many other people get it, but I don't understand why people don't see that. So what do you feel? Let's take money off the table, right? Take money off the table. That's the number one objection we hear is I can't afford it. I can't do this. I can't do that. Because that brings up the whole difference is you said yes to an opportunity or to start this business to make money, and you're not. So why are you even doing it? So what do you think is that underlying fear outside of money that really is holding people back from not achieving?
I really feel it's that fear of success. And on the flip side, and you can have this at the same time, you can have that sense of fear of failure and success at the same time. And it's that unknown. And that's why I like to say, playing mediocre, playing just inside that edge where it's comfortable, setting that goal that's just 10% higher than your last one, that's safe. And so I really feel like it's a fear of success and a fear of failure. But what's underneath that? What's underneath that is really having that belief that they're worthy of that success. They trust themselves in that to be able to create that success that they desire, and that they deserve it. And so they play just inside that edge so they don't have that vulnerability of putting themselves out there that's so scary to so many. And it's because of not knowing or not owning who they really are. And as far as those excuses that, I mean, I hear them all the time, and they're just really excuses or placing blame. If they don't get the results that they want, placing blame, having shame, or just feeling guilty, and really understanding where is that coming from. And I link it all back to, and you had said, I'll use your word, self-accountability, but it's under that self-leadership umbrella. And how do you raise the roof on that? It starts with that sense of self-awareness. Where are you placing blame? What are those areas where you feel shame or guilt that things aren't, that you haven't reached that certain level that you thought you would by now? Or, that you didn't take that risk that in hindsight would have had great payoff. Or you didn't extend that offer because you were afraid of the rejection. It starts and ends with us, by the choices we make. And having that awareness, that self-awareness piece, is the first step to really raise the roof on what you're creating, to be able to expand and influence more people, because we're all here for each other. We're all here to benefit other people. The world revolves around relationships. And if you're playing mediocre because you just want to stay on the inside of that edge and not really test your own limits, is that serving the person on the other side? So coming back to your question, as far as what I feel is really standing in their way, is that fear of success paired with the fear of failure, but really having that vulnerability and owning that, so that you can take those experiences and really build on each other, versus letting them keep you stagnant in the same spot, or just inside that edge.
I think one of the things that is most detrimental, or I think something that people end up taking to their grave that they wish they wouldn't, was and is the thought of regret, and going to their grave with the what ifs. I should have did this, I should have done that. What if I did this? What if I turned that stone over? What if I would have made that investment? What if I would have really gone all in? Because as you said, no one wakes up and says, you know what, I want to live a pretty mediocre life. And I always wonder, what's that moment for people where they finally just open their eyes and they're like, enough is enough. I'm tired of playing small. I'm tired of listening to that voice in my head that's telling me I don't need to do this. And, the first investment I ever made was $2,500 about eight and a half years ago in a coach, where I didn't have the $2,500. Compare that to nowadays, where, we've invested multiple 5 figures a year in masterminds and group coaching. And it doesn't scare us anymore, because we know what the ROI is going to be. When you make that kind of investment in yourself and it's with the right person, you still have to do the work, but you're going to get that ROI. You're going to squeeze the juice. And I really do. And I know you feel the same way. We really want to see people live their best life, achieve those things they want to achieve, impact people the way they want to impact. But I feel there's so many people that wake up and they're prisoners in their own mind. They're living in the 6 inches between their ears, and it's really debilitating them. And again, I just wonder, like, when are you going to break the cycle? When are you going to get off that hamster wheel? When are you going to finally look in the mirror and say, you know what? I do deserve more. I should have more. And I am playing small, and I don't want to, people think getting uncomfortable is really a bad thing. It's not as uncomfortable as you really think it is. It's uncomfortable maybe for the first couple minutes, but anything becomes familiar after you start doing it. It's only uncomfortable. Literally, it's like, the best way to compare it is, that feeling when you're at like a water park, and, you're sitting in that tube and you're about to go down that really, really steep slide. And it's like, you're so nervous because it's the first time you're going down. And finally the operator, like, gives you that little push and you start going, and like, once you start going, you're fine. And then you run back up as fast as you can to do it again because you've already experienced it. So all you have to do is you just need that little push. And sometimes that little push comes from a coach. So as we start to wind down, Wesley, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about, the programs that you have, how they work, how you help people, and how they can find out more.
Absolutely. Thanks. So I have a Confidence Catalyst program. It's a 90-day program that really centers around the 3 C's. I do deep belief work, and because we hold our beliefs as a cellular level, because that's the starting point for everything that happens after: your habits, your attitude, your behaviors, to really get the results that you want. And so being able to take that certainty, that belief, pairing it with knowing who you are at your core, and then really aligning yourself with that, and to be able to move forward with an awareness of knowing really when you tend to get off track, those resistance, those triggers and things like that. So being able to have that foundation is critical and much needed for everyone that I have worked with. And on the flip side, what I've also, and I offer a money mastery program, because what I found with female entrepreneurs is, money can be a taboo topic. And I believe how we do money is how we do everything. And these behaviors and patterns show up in our money story. So when you're able to really crack that code of how your money story is really holding you back, so that you can step forward in an empowered way that's aligned with who you are, those challenges begin to just fade away, because those strengths to pull on when those situations come up, and you're better equipped. And so the money mastery and the Confidence Catalyst, I've found, are 2 critical starting points to really make a huge difference and break through to that next level and really create those exponential results that you're after without sacrificing yourself in the process. And so to be able to help women in that way, and a lot of the leaders that come to me, they've had that success, but it's come at a cost. And they know to get to their next level that there is a better way. And that's when they come to me. So I just invite, if there's someone listening to this that this resonates. My story resonates. They feel that this may be the answer, the bridge to get them from where they are to where they want to be. I just invite them to a conversation. Invite them to a conversation to really understand who they are, what may be standing in their way, so that I can help them with that breakthrough if it's a good fit.
Awesome. And what's the best way for people to reach out to you from this episode?
My website is wesleyreece.co. I'm also on social, Facebook, Instagram. I am .Wesley Reece, and LinkedIn as well. So that's Wesley Reece, Reece, R-E-E-C-E. And I would just welcome the conversation.
So for the listeners, all that information will be in the episode notes and the description of the episodes. You guys can go and check Wesley out. I highly, highly encourage, if you're a woman listening to this and you want more and you have some of those blockages that you know need to be removed, I highly, highly suggest reaching out and just at least having a conversation with Wesley to see if it's a good fit. Now, Wesley, final question before we sign off today. What does success truly mean to you?
For me personally, it is this living a life with that sense of freedom, of choice, and to know that each day mattered. Wherever I spent my time, whatever I was working on, to know at the end of the day, it mattered, and to be present.
You know, the one thing that I really resonate, and this happens, and this comes up often in whenever I ask this question, is, nothing is ever really about money. It's about choice, and it's about freedom, and it's about being able to live your life on your own terms. And I think you're a prime example of that. And now what you're doing is just helping other empowered women to do the same thing. And I think that's what really, really makes you stand out from all the other people out there. So first, I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on to today's episode. But second, thank you for just being so vulnerable and open and sharing all of your wisdom and your love with my audience. And I know they're going to get so much from it. So thank you so much again.
Well, thank you, Scott, for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for the audience, again, don't forget, check out all the ways to connect with Wesley in the description of this episode. And we do hope you enjoyed it. So please enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.